the subject of today's video is from Sabrent. I've been having some good dialogue lately with the representative over at Sabrent. His name is William, and I want to give William a shout out and say thank you for looking out for me and thinking of me. The 2 terabyte NVMe solid state storage drives are what you see me use on a lot of builds. And I would love to use 4 terabyte storage, but it's just, it's hard to find. And I haven't had any customers request it. And if they do request it, they change their mind once they find out what the price is. So I was talking with William over at Sabrent. And I said, I'd really like one of those 4 terabyte drives, and I'd like to use it and put it in a long-term test in my office computer because I'm running a 2 terabyte NVMe Intel 660p and then 2 1 terabyte ADATA 2.5-inch SSDs. I'd like to remove all 3 of those and replace it with one 4 terabyte Sabrent NVMe Rocket drive and see how it holds up, see how if I feel a performance difference, and also get rid of drive letters D and E and just keep everything on C. C is the 2 terabyte, D is 1 terabyte, E is 1 terabyte. Combine all those. Now I realize with like AMD, My Store, whatever it's called, where you can sort of emulate this, but that's software and it slows everything down. So this is it. This is the $850 question. The question, of course, is if a 2 terabyte drive is somewhere around $240 and 4 terabytes is twice as much, then 240 plus 240 would be 480. So you would guess that this drive would sell for $480. And if it did, that you'd probably see me using them. Unfortunately, the manufacturing process in these chips is not as ubiquitous. The chips are not as common. That will change, of course, in time as more people demand it and supply will increase, the price will come down. I think it's on Amazon for $849. Honestly, don't think I could justify $850 for a 4 terabyte drive, but I very much am curious what you get for $850. Are you better off getting two 2 terabyte drives and putting them in a RAID 0, or are you better off having one 4 terabyte drive? And I think the question kind of falls to, there are issues regarding RAID as a boot drive when driver issues prevent you from booting and you need a special boot disk with the drivers to see it gets kind of complicated, which I learned the hard way with the Thready build with Threadripper. Or you get a small boot drive and then make that get a drive that has maybe 3 M.2s, but then they're not all going to run at high speed, which reduces the performance. The reason I said 3 M.2s is you could use one to boot off of, so you don't have to worry about RAID drivers, and then put the other 2 in a RAID 0, and that'll be your 4 terabyte over there. But that doesn't really work because you don't have enough lanes on a typical home motherboard, home-based end-user motherboard. You'd have to go much, much higher like Threadripper or X299, and things start getting really expensive. And if things are going to get really expensive, why not just cut to the chase and get this and be done with it? So there's pros and cons depending on what's important to you. If you've got the M.2 slots, you want to run them both. You want to have 2 separate 2 terabyte drives. Don't RAID them. Just you have a C drive of 2 terabytes and a D drive of 2 terabytes because it saves you a little money. Great. Or maybe you're in the exact opposite situation. Maybe you've got 2 M.2 drives and you want 8 terabytes of storage, so you need to buy 2 4 terabyte drives, rated or not. Maybe you just have extreme storage needs and you need that performance. So there's a lot of options and possibilities to consider when you're purchasing whatever you're going to use for your storage. And it's not always just about the price. There's other considerations. For the most part, I think all NVMe drives have a 5-year warranty, if I'm not mistaken, just across the board. It's like an industry standard, I think. But you've got reliability, you've got the type of memory, the amount of cache or buffer that it has, the amount of over-provisioning that it provides, and of course, the performance. And not only just performance with large files, but small files and files in between. And for most of us, honestly, in my experience, we don't all copy small files or big files. We do a little bit of everything. So when I'm testing drives, I always test the best case scenario, which is moving big files. That'll be the top numbers on the Crystal DiskMark benchmark. And the reason for that is to just go, look, I don't care about the small file performance, right? It is what it is. I want to know in a best case scenario, how fast is this? It's similar to how you test a car. I want to know if you go in a straight line on a perfectly smooth road in beautiful weather with new tires, how fast can that car go, best case scenario? Now, the minute you start throwing in different types of pavement or conditions of pavement, weather conditions, turns, then we're talking different performance. That's a whole different level of performance. So I like to know in a best case scenario, how fast can that car go? If everything is perfect, what's the best it can do? So when I do buy benchmarks, that's primarily what I'm looking at when I'm testing solid state storage. I don't care about how it performs with other types of data transfer, because at the end of the day, for most of us, we do a little bit of it all. So, all right. So the drive's going to go in with the Sabrent title or logo facing straight up. The notch is going to be on the bottom. And I'm just going to set that into the socket. I've got the wireless dongle for the keyboard and mouse already plugged in. I've just plugged the HDMI cable into the back of your monitor. I need to get a power cable now. I've got the power cable already plugged into the wall. I just have to plug it into the back of the computer. Now, with that plugged in, I'm going to go over to camera input number 2, and we're going to fire this bad boy up. We're going to see no signal written behind me or below me. That's the fact that there's no signal coming out of this computer because it's off. When I turn it on, a signal will come out, travel through this cable, and it will light up in colors on your screen, forming pictures and words. So here we go. Switch is on. I'll hit the power switch here. Fan is turning. Now, with the system booted up, let me go to my full screen mode so I can see what I'm doing over here. Where is it? Full screen projector. Here it is. Okay, I realize nothing changed for you on your end. I'm making my screen bigger so I can see. I'm going to right-click on the start button here and go to Disk Management. And it should automatically detect I've got a new drive installed now, right? It didn't do it before. But now it says, hey, you've got to initialize this disk before you can use it. And it's obviously referring to what's called disk 1. And you go, well, if it's disk 1, then what the heck did you load Windows from? That was loaded from disk 0. All I have to do here is click OK. And then right here, it shows 3815.43 gigabytes unallocated. I'm going to right click on this, keep this all as one big partition. I'm going to click New Simple Volume and keep it simple. Click Next, click Next, click Next. If I want to give this a name, I can call it Sabrent 4 terabyte. Then I can recognize, I don't know if that was a Freudian slip there with the dollar sign. It seems accurate either way. Oh, there's the Sabrent 4 terabyte. And then finally, we'll hit Next and Finish. And it's going to very quickly format it. And there's our drive. There's 4 terabytes of nothing, which is wonderful. Now I'm going to bring up Crystal DiskMark Portable. I do believe this is the latest version, 7.0.0H. You can download the software you see me use here for free. You can Google it. I'm going to run the, obviously, 64-bit edition of the software. And the thing you got to watch when you run the software is that you're testing the right drive. Don't just hit the first button you see, which a lot of people do. In this case, we want to go to drive D. That's going to be our 4 terabyte, which is, again here, 3,815 gigabytes. And now we'll run all tests and we'll see what kind of numbers we get out of this bad boy. Oh, those are good numbers. 3424. Yeah, that's a good start. We're looking at the very high end of the performance. Again, 3600 would be the absolute maximum, and I don't even think you could get to 3600. You'd probably get to like 3550. So we're doing really, really good there. Holy smokes, look at those write speeds. 3,000, almost 3,100 megabytes a second. It's quite respectable. In fact, we're in sort of that Samsung Evo Plus territory. You know, the Samsung Evo Plus 2 terabyte drive is $450 on Amazon right now. Okay, so if this performance is on par with that drive, then two of those drives would be $900, making this drive at $850 a bargain. Isn't it interesting how the perspective starts to change, and what seems expensive now doesn't seem so bad after all once you're able to really visualize what you're getting for your money here. Those are very impressive numbers. Like I said, I'll wait, there's 2 more tests to go, and I'm sure on my flash drives I've got some results from other drives, and I've got to have a 970 Evo on there, the 970 Evo Plus, which as far as I'm concerned is like the fastest NVMe drive you can reasonably buy. I think you can go to like an Intel 700 series, but there's so much money. I've never installed one. I've never had a customer ask for one. I wasn't expecting the numbers to be that good. So this will be interesting. Now, it looks like the tests are completed, and these are our final numbers. So now I'm curious how that compares to what I believe is the fastest, certainly the fastest drive I recommend for customers. Again, it's the Samsung 970 Evo Plus. I've got my flash drive here that should have all of the Crystal Disk Mark results saved from various drives over the years that I've tested, or at least over the last year that I've tested. So here we've got the 970 Evo Plus 2 terabyte right there. Let's see how this compares. So we're at 3558 on the reads. So the 970 is still a little bit faster here. It's a little slower here. It's significantly slower here. This last, the random 4K, this is interesting results here. I gotta say, this Sabrent drive is really holding its own against what I have considered to be sort of the king of the crop, the best of the best. And I'm kind of speechless. Like I thought it would be good, but I didn't think it would be this good. I mean, is it $850 good? That's the question. I want to remind you that this drive, these numbers here on the left, that's a drive of half the capacity, but more than half the price of the drive on the right. Drive on the right, twice the capacity for, let's say, $850. So you would have to pay, so the basically the MSRP on the Samsung 970 Plus, Evo Plus, 2 terabytes, should be $399.99, should be $400. Right now, it's selling for $450. So it doesn't do us any good to compare what prices used to be, okay? So if we're comparing what the Sabrent drive is selling for today versus and again, I'm just gonna use Amazon as my baseline for prices. The Samsung 970 Evo Plus 2 terabyte drive is $450. To equal one Sabrent drive of 4 terabytes, you'd have to spend $900 on 2 Samsung 970 Evo Pluses. And they would go just a little teeny tiny bit faster on some of the tests and a little bit slower on some of the other tests. So it's not a clear winner. On top of that, the Sabrent drive will cost you $50 less and not take up 2 M.2 slots. That's worth a little extra something to some people. That means you can stick another 2 terabytes, now you can have 6 terabytes, whatever. You can add another 4 terabytes, have 8. So your capacity can be much greater on the built-in storage capabilities of your motherboard by going to a larger capacity NVMe drive. And that may be worth the added expense. So, okay, here's the Corsair MP600, but this is generation 4. So PCIe Gen 4 is a different beast, and you would have to use basically an AMD X570 based motherboard. That's the only thing current. No, I take it back. Intel's latest, what is their latest chipset? The 490, something like that? Intel's latest 10th gen compatible motherboards are now PCIe Gen 4. So basically you have to be running the absolute latest hardware, which means you're going to be spending bucks, right? So those numbers, that's generation 4, and those are pretty typical numbers of current generation 4. But with generation 4, those numbers should be able to get close to 8,000. So the solid state drive manufacturers still have a ways to go before they completely saturate the bus like they've already done with generation 3. So the drive I'm testing today, as a reminder, is generation 3, which most motherboards are. Like if you have an M.2 slot on your motherboard, chances are it's generation 3. Okay, here are two Samsung 970 EVOs in a RAID 0. Well, that's not impressive at all. And you'll see the reason this happened is it's maxed out the amount of data that can go through the bus. That's why we've hit this number here. And then we're also increasing latency, and then we're also, requiring a driver, which makes maintenance of the computer much, much harder. If you're trying to, if your system won't boot and you're trying to repair it, you need a rescue disk that has the RAID drivers on it, which you'll have to make yourself. It's not intuitive. It's a very advanced thing, and it's a pain in the butt. The Intel 660p, which is the QLC drive, again, this one, I don't know if this was a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte drive. The 1 gigabyte up here is the test size. That's not the size of the drive. But you'll see, look at the difference in the numbers. Go right across the top. Bigger numbers are better. So you really do get what you pay for. And again, well, I kind of started this off a bit, making fun of how expensive this drive is, saying it on par with the 970 EVO Plus, and knowing that 2 of those to equal 4 terabytes, the size of this one drive, would cost more than this one drive. I've reconsidered my position on that now that I've seen the performance numbers. Who saw that coming? So stay safe. I'll see you all again. We've got a lot more videos coming up, more reviews, more builds, more repairs, more of the same, and back to business, back to work. I'll see you all very, very soon. And until then, bye for now.